Hello everyone and welcome to the second day of the quarterfinals in a match between Hikaru Nakamura and Nepomniachtchi. So if you've seen yesterday was a pretty crazy day. There were a lot of very decisive games and a lot of great positions, but in the end the match between Hikaru and Nepo ended in a draw, and now they're playing the second match, and now if either of them wins this one, then they go into the semi-final. So it's a very nice game. This is the second game of the second day. The first game Nepo won also very nicely. But now this game is even nicer. I first thought about showing the first one, but then I decided I'm going to show the second one, as it's it's really just wonderful stuff. So without further ado, let's check it out and see what we have here. So Hikaru with the white pieces opens with e4. We have c5 by Nepo going for the Sicilian defense. We have knight to f3, e6, and now d4 striking in the center. We have c captures, knight captures, and now knight to c6. So this is all very standard, the Taimano variation of the Sicilian. Knight to c3 continuing development, and queen to c7 now. We have f4 by Hikaru, and now you want to take away the b5 square from white's knights, so a6. We have knight back to b3, avoiding any unnecessary trades, and b5 now, grabbing more space, preparing b4 in the future, bishop to b7, knight is coming to f6, so very natural development for black. We have bishop to d3, and bishop to b7. As planned, we have castles, and now d6, and here the most common move for white is bishop to e3, but Hikaru actually played bishop to d2 here, which is not a new move, it has been played before, but I guess there's a... there definitely is a reason why you play bishop to d2. I guess it's sort of a way to maybe shift the bishop over to c3 at some point. Maybe if you play a3, move the knight, bishop c3, then grab hold of this diagonal. Could also be a mouse slip, I don't know. But it definitely helps to throw Nepo off his preparation. But okay, we have knight to f6. It's not a new move if you're wondering. Queen to f3, developing the queen, connecting rooks, and now bishop to e7. And there is one game in the database where king to h1 was played, but here we have rook a to e1, and it is as of move 12 that we have a completely new game. So Hikaru now has full development. All of his pieces are developed, the rooks are very nicely occupying the ENF file, and Nepo still has to finish development, but he starts with b4. So what do you do here? And it's a very tricky move to throw in. You're wondering, okay, why didn't you castle? Why not develop the rook? I mean, why you do this, Nepo? And here you have to go knight to a4. It looks like a very ugly square for the knight, but this is what you have to do. And the problem is Hikaru didn't do this. Hikaru played knight to d1, and now there's a problem. And it's not easy to spot this problem unless you, until you see it. So here Nepo went a5, preparing a4, and there's no way to prevent this. You just have to continue the game. Hikaru played knight to f2, and now a4, pushing the knight all the way back. We have knight to c1, and now you've lost the control of the d4 square, so now knight to d4. Attacking Hikaru's queen on f3, queen back to d1, as the c2 pawn was attacked twice, so the queen and bishop now helped defending it, and d5 now. Of course, you have to play this. This is the Sicilian dream. You have to bust open the center, and now both bishops come alive. But for the moment, Hikaru closes the center. He says e5, your bishops will remain closed for the moment. But now just knight to e4. And now with these two knights so excellently placed here on d4 and e4, it's a question of what do you do here. It seems that best is just to capture it, even though it only plays into black's idea. Black wants to open up the diagonals for the bishops, this diagonal, and also this bishop is coming to c5 to grab hold of this diagonal. But there doesn't seem to be anything better. For example, if knight captures, you can recapture, and after captures, and captures, yes, white won a pawn, but only temporarily. Knight captures on c2 is coming, and then it's just a very good position for black. You're going to castle, bring the rook over to d8, and play on the queen side. So this is what would happen, but it's maybe the best Hikaru had. But Hikaru played knight to e2, and now Nepo goes on the attack. Knight to f5. So again, what do you play here? We have king to h1 by Hikaru, not allowing any knight captures to come with check, also getting away from this diagonal, but you're also stepping into this diagonal. So you win some, you lose some. But now queen to b6, an extremely strong move by Nepo, going after the knight on f2. The knight is now attacked twice. So knight to h3 by Hikaru. It's interesting what happens after bishop captures on e4. For example, d captures and now knight to g3. It still doesn't work because here Nepo just has e3, and this is super strong. The pawn is defended by the knight and by the queen. So you have to eliminate this knight, for example, but then just pawn captures. And again, your rook is under attack. You cannot capture the pawn. Not much to do here. You can capture on e7, but then f captures on e1 with check, and then rook or queen captures on f1, king captures here, and we ended this variation with black being up a whole rook and of course in a completely winning position. So instead, after queen to b6, we have knight to h3 by Hikaru. But now Nepo just continues the onslaught, bishop to h4. The rook cannot move, and there really is no good way to defend. And what Nepo really wants here is for Hikaru to play g3, but then you open up this bishop's diagonal, and that's just game over. Now you just play d4, open up the bishop's diagonal, prepare some very, very nasty discoveries here. And for example, if bishop captures, yes, you have king to g1, but now you just bring the bishop back, bishop to e7. You're going to bring the bishop here. You have this bishop here, and it's a very, very difficult position for white to play. Of course, it is completely winning for black. So g3 not an option. After bishop to h4, we have bishop back to c1 by Hikaru. And now, of course, Nepo just wins material. Bishop captures on e1, queen captures, and now, finally, Nepo castles. So, remember when I said that Nepo could have castled, he decided to play b4 and create some complications, and it immediately paid off. That's good chess right there. So, knight to g3, Hikaru offering trades here, but now b3. Trying to weaken white's position on the queen side, and also it will make this bishop weak. So here a captures, we have 8 captures, and now we have knight to g5. Hikaru has to try something. He brings the knight into the attack, but now just knight f to g3 with check, h captures, and b captures on c2. So again, what do you play here? White's position is just terrible. There's not all that much you can play here. Hikaru tries f5 to start some sort of an attack. If he can get f6 in, good things might happen, but Nepo, of course, doesn't allow it. He plays e captures on f5. And after rook captures on f5, it was in this position that Hikaru Nakamura resigned the game without even waiting for Nepo's reply, as the position is just that terrible. So I will try and, I'm going to, for your pleasure, I will try to continue this game in the most entertaining way possible. So one way I'm thinking this game could have ended is, of course, rook to a1. Makes sense, as the queen and king are still on the h-file. And now there is no good move for white. If white tries something to create some sort of a counter-attack here, we just eliminate the knight, rook captures on g5, and now this queen captures on e6. And now, very interesting, if rook to e5, for example, going after the queen, you can even sacrifice the queen here, and it's perfectly fine. Queen captures, you're gonna eliminate the bishop with check, king to h2, and now you sacrifice the rook. Rook to h1 to make the c1 check, queen move come with check. So king h1, c1 queen, and that's just it. There's nothing to be done. For example, king here, queen to h6 check, black is up a rook, you have to go back with the king, then rook c8, rook c1, and that's just it. So really, really impressive stuff. Nepo not only wins the first game, but also the second game in only 28 moves with the black pieces, which is incredibly, incredibly impressive. And it basically all started here when I said after rook 8 to e1, this was a new move in the position by Hikaru, and Nepo could have just castled. He could have started, you know, rook to c8, just continuing development, but this b4 move is what allowed him to create this beautiful game, because you have to go to the very ugly a4 square in order to prevent a5 and a4, and then white definitely is still in the game, but with the move Hikaru played, it was just all straight downhill from there. So yeah, very, very impressive stuff by Nepo, which is not all that surprising, as he is the current leader of the candidates tournament that is, soon to be continued. So yeah, like I said, after this, Hikaru resigned, and now Hikaru needs to win Game 3 and Game 4 just to get back into the match and to force tie breaks. We'll see what happens and if he will be able to do it. So yeah, once again, hope you guys enjoyed it. I would like to thank, I would like to wish Tommy Asen a happy birthday, as his friend contributed in his honor. So hope you have a great one. Brian Plotnik. I would like to thank Taras Karpiak. Tal is the greatest, and also Future, who with his contribution becomes the top contributor of the channel. With his contribution of 2021 Nano, which is sort of an equivalent to $10,000. And I know some of you guys are wondering, but how come Mystery is now only 9.590, as 1 Bitcoin is now worth much more? Well, it's because this is what it was worth at the time of the contribution. So I know a lot of you guys are confused about that, but that's how it is portrayed there. So congratulations to Mr. Future, who decided to remain anonymous, but he did ask if I could mention one little sentence that Nano is like Bitcoin, but it is without fees and it is instant in transactions. So there you have it, if anyone is interested. Once again, hope you guys enjoyed it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing the coverage of this very nice tournament, checking up on your wonderful suggestions and whatever else happens in the chess world. See you soon, guys.